If you feel like an imposter, you might just be growing into your next level.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hey everyone, how are you today? And so we are still in this imposter syndrome space. And again, we're still speaking with my partner in life, period, my wife, Kafi. Thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me on today.
You're welcome. And so we're talking about the imposter syndrome. And here is the point we want to make today. Feeling like an imposter often means you've stepped into a new territory. Doubt isn't a weakness, it's a sign you're leveling up. And if you've been listening to the last couple episodes, we have really been talking about whether or not you feel like you're worthy of the position that you're in, let alone are you worthy for the place where you're about to propel to. And I think that a lot of times we don't feel like that because do we feel as though we've got that position by the skin of our teeth? Maybe because we knew somebody. There could be multiple factors as to why we feel like we've been positioned in that place. We don't always understand that our qualifications had to play a part. And I'll use this as an example. And Kafi can attest to this. Sometimes we'll look at our educational background or our jobs that we've been in, and we downplay who we are and what we've been and what we've accomplished when we've moved on to another place. And so sometimes, and I can speak for me being in customer service, I had for the longest time, I only applied for customer service jobs because I felt as though I was not worthy to be in another place. And then when I got to that place, I really didn't feel worthy at that time. And that was really unfortunate because I personally did not take full advantage of that situation. But I had to understand that I did step into a new place and that I was leveling up. Even in that place, I saw myself differently. I carried myself differently. And Kafi can express to you just this one particular job where I went from customer service into contracting, that I started even dressing different. I leveled up in getting my clothes taken into the cleaners or whatever it might have been, versus being a customer service where I might not have paid as much attention to how I dress. I was still earning my clothes, but I might not have paid as much attention or spent as much time on it as I did when I had leveled up. And so I want you to understand that in this position that you're in, that yes, you are worthy in that position, that you have gotten there not just because, but there you do qualify for that. And so don't downplay where you've been or what you've done in the past for what you're doing now, because what you've done in the past is what got you here now. The way you spoke, the way you held your head up, the way you paid attention in meetings, someone paid attention to you in some of those situations. So I want you to feel as though that even though you're doubting that situation, it's not a weakness. It just shows that, hey, you may possibly work even harder to show that you belong in that spot. Kafi, your thoughts?
Again, you said a whole lot there, and
I'm sorry.
and that's okay. A lot of things flashed through my mind with some of this. So when it comes to doubting where you are, I think it's a little bit more than imposter syndrome. I think the doubt comes from not only imposter syndrome, but it is part of that growth. It's part of that stretch. And so the doubt is, hey, I'm stretching. It feels uncomfortable. And like you said, you know, Maurice, you were saying how many years you were in customer service. That was comfortable. You knew exactly what to do. You knew how to answer the questions. You knew how to deal with your managers. You knew how to deal with your coworkers. But then when you step into a new role that you're qualified for, because you have years of experience, because you have been a team lead, because you have shown all of these skills that they're looking for, and you step in there and you begin to do okay at first, and then you begin to doubt yourself. And sometimes we think that's imposter syndrome, and it could be one of those things that it is. But a lot of it is, it's just you being stretched. It's you you know, it's those growing pains. And then sooner or later you'll realize where you are, and you will grow into that position and begin to become comfortable within that role. So then you become comfortable there and know how to do things in and out, and people come to you to ask questions and you have the answers. And then again, you'll be moved and bumped to another place, and then go through it all over again. You'll have that doubt whether or not you really fit into that role.
Is that so
you
cool?
know, it is what it is. And again, we're talking corporate America, but it's the same thing for entrepreneurs.
Right.
And Maurice, you can certainly talk about that, as you have worked as an entrepreneur for several years and you've tried something, it worked, and then things shifted. And then you started to doubt yourself. Is this for me? Is this the right way that my business should be going? You know, and you begin to doubt yourself. How come I'm not getting more customers? How come people aren't, you know, willing to pay their bills on time anymore?
Right.
Whatever that might be, you start to doubt yourself, but you have to understand that that's just stretching you.
And to your point of being in that space, I was uncomfortable because I was in an unfamiliar space. I was doubting who I was because now did I feel like I qualified to speak to some of the people that I've even interviewed on this show alone. And so you start to say, you know, I don't belong. I don't qualify. Not knowing that the same language that they're speaking, I know how to speak. The same attitude towards wanting to transform lives, the same mentality that they had, I have the same thing. But because they appeared to be in a level higher than me, I doubted who I was and what I was yet to become. Because that word yet, right? We don't know what that is. So we're unsure. We're not sure where we're going to get to. And so do I really belong in this podcasting space? For one, am I really worthy to talk to these people that are making millions and millions of dollars? I am, though. I've been around them all my life, but I've never put two and two together, right? And so, I agree with you that doubt made me come out of myself, and really, as Kafi, what she's talking about is the part why this matters, because if you've never been stretched, you're probably not growing. And so in this space, I was being stretched to say, Maurice, who are you? And then whose are you? Right? And so for those of you that believe in a higher being, that believe, you know, that there is a God, and for those of you who don't, you know, that's okay as well. But those of you who believe in a situation that there's something, a greater power than you, and that you that's where your strength comes from and your being and things like that. That helped. I know that helped me to overcome some of those doubt, because it was the regular Maurice and not the uplifted Maurice.
Right.
Right. It was the fleshy side of me that, as I looked at someone else, I'm like, hey, I don't belong. I don't belong. But there are parts that I had to reflect on to say, well, they went about this particular topic differently than I did. They had different resources than I did. They had different experiences than I did. And so even when, Kafi, as you and I sit here and talking today, you and I are not necessarily on the same playing field, right? And what I mean by that is, educationally, there's a gap. But also, it depends on how you view it as well. But you and I, we don't necessarily challenge each other on like, oh yeah, or downgrade. I shouldn't say challenge. Downgrade one person's education over the other, right? And so again, it's all about those people that you sit at the table with to say, you know what? You can still do it. You got it. You have the information. Maurice, you learned the same thing I learned, this, and this. Kafi, you learned this, So I think those are the type of things and situations we need to put ourselves in to say, you know what? Yes, I may not have the same educational level as these other people at this table or whatever it is, but guess what? If I'm the smartest person at the table, I'm really the dumbest person. I shouldn't be the smartest person at that breakfast table. I really shouldn't be. Because now I need to continually be stretched. So I hope each and every one of you are hearing this today.
And I hope you're all being stretched by this knowledge that Maurice is dropping. That it's growing us all, and that you'll take a deeper look into what really is going on with your imposter syndrome, what's really going on with that doubt, and that you face that part, and that'll give you what you need to get over it. Along with, as Maurice said, faith will certainly be one of the things that will help you overcome doubt and fear and all those things that kind of rise up against us and kind of halt us in our purpose, halt us in our vision, halt us in what it is that we need to do. So we wish you all the best luck and much success to you all.
And we thank you very much for listening today. We'll talk to you a little later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?